Friends, we've seen one game where one family goes up against one family, that being Family Feud. But after that show came out in 1976, but the next year in 77, another game from Mark Goodson and Bill Todman came out, and it was a battle of the sexes, men against women. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the better sex, as it's this week's featured game in the wide world of game shows right now. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews presents Wide World of Game Shows. So greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle, better known to as the Big D, back again with another episode of the Wide World of Game Shows. This time around, I'm going to be talking about a pretty underrated game show. This is one that I've seen doesn't get a lot of talk about. There are episodes up, and I don't think anybody's ever talked about it, but that's going to change when I talk about it. Now, as you know, you heard me correctly. After Family Feud came out in 1976, Goodson and Todman gave us another game that was factually in ways like it, but it didn't quite make it feel like it. But it did have a little feel to it, and it was men against women. Although it did borrow some of the sounds you hear from Family Feud, though. So I ask you people out there, which is, as this title of this game show says, the better sex. The Better Sex, it was a game show where it was men against women. It originally premiered on ABC in the summer of 1977 and ended in early 78. It was produced by Mark Goodson and Bill Todman. Okay, now then. This was men against women in a battle of the sexes, as I've mentioned. Now, the show started in July of 77 and went on until January 78. Now, the show pitted two teams of 6 men and 6 women in a battle of the sexes elimination game. One member of the team in control was asked a question as they start out the battlefield to start. Which the question was near general knowledge or survey, kind of like Family Feud. The contestant was then handed a card which contained the correct answer and a bluff answer. The player's job was to choose which answer to use to try to fool the opposing team, or of course, the other sex. After the contestant made his or her choice, up to 3 members of the team decided to either agree or disagree on the answer, just like Hollywood Squares. Now, only 2 could agree or disagree, and once they did, the correct answer was then revealed. If the 2 players made the incorrect judgment, then they were knocked out of the game, eliminated from further play. If they made the correct judgment, they stayed in the game, and the player offering the answer was knocked out along with a teammate of the opposing team's choice. Additionally, that team took control of the next question. When a team was down to 2 players and could not agree whether an answer was correct or a bluff, the first player was given the option to change his or her judgment or stay with his or her original choice. The first team to eliminate the other won the game, $1,000, and a chance to play for $5,000 in the bonus game. Now, I know I didn't give you the host yet, but I'll get to that in a little bit, okay? Now, in the bonus game, the winning team faced 30 members of the opposite sex in the studio audience. Now, originally in the pilot episode, which you can find on YouTube, by the way, it was a bigger group, 70 of them. But from here on out, they went with 30 of them. The women would go up against 30 men in the audience, or the men would go up against 30 women in the audience. Now, one at a time, each team member was asked a question, then was handed a card which showed the correct answer only. The contestant could use that answer or come up with a bluff of his or her own. After the player gave an answer, the audience member then voted to agree or disagree on the answer with this little paddle thing that had a green arrow for the pointing up for the correct answer and a red arrow pointing out for the incorrect answer. And once they hear the da 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 da, that's actually the same buzzer you would hear once you hit the buzzer on Family Feud in the face-off round. Which that wasn't the only sound you heard. You hear the little ding. But unlike Family Feud, you'd hear that multiple times, okay, once you got the correct answer in the face-off round. You'd only hear it once, which would make it the second Goods and Tommy game I know of to do that. The other was, I forgot the name of it. I know it was a charades game, and what have you, that ABC had. It slipped my mind. I'll get to it in a little bit. Now, the correct answer was then revealed, and any audience members who voted wrong or failed to cast a vote in the allotted time were eliminated and had to sit down. Play continued until all 6 questions were played. If any audience members were left standing, the team lost and the audience survivors split $500. However, if all 30 members in the audience were knocked out after 6 questions or less, the winning team split $5,000. Now, I've read somewhere somebody actually managed to beat them all in one question. Teams stayed on the show until they lost twice or occurred at least $20,000 in total winnings. By December of '77, it increased to $30,000. Give me a sec, I'll be right back. Sorry, everyone. I found out what the name of the game was that used the bell sound only one time, and that was Show Offs. That was a charades game that ABC had a couple years before this. Anyway, like most shows that aired this at the noon or Eastern Time, 11 Central Mountain Pacific Time, some affiliates did not carry the show. It aired opposite of CBS's hit soap The Young and the Restless, and initially NBC's Shoot for the Stars, and To Say the Least. In January of '78, when ABC extended their other 2 big soaps, aside from All My Children, and others, which were One Life to Live and General Hospital, the series was placed on a hiatus and aired their final episode January 13th. And the Pyramid, which that happens to be in the next episode, $20,000 pyramid. That $25,000 that didn't occur yet. The $20,000 pyramid took over the time slot, and then the show was ultimately canceled by ABC later that year. And after that, the Bear 6 was never seen again. However, it was seen on some shows on the Game Show Network, including The World of Games and as well as their comedy series Faux Pas, which it was in 1998, but it was never seen anymore until 20 years later when Buzzer aired a couple episodes, one from November and one from December, as part of their annual Lost and Found series of specials. You can find the episodes that aired on Buzzer on YouTube. You can also find the show's series finale as well. Now, back to the host. The show had 2 hosts. The host for the men's side was country music singer-songwriter Whisperin' Bill Anderson, who, of course, a few years later would host his own game, Fandango, on the Nashville Network. While the host for the female side was future Real People host Sarah Purcell, which, of course, Real People premiered on NBC the following year after this show had ended, in 1979. Now, I also know this show by its theme called Hormonal Imbalance, composed by Score Productions. Now, like its American counterpart, most international versions that were based on this format had a shorter run in their respective countries as well. There was also an Australian version, a French version, an Italian version, and a Netherlands version. Plus, there were 2 versions of it in the UK. Other foreign versions also aired in Germany, of course, Scotland, and Wales. The show's announcer was Gene Wood, who was also the announcer for Family Feud at the time. And of course, he was also the announcer for CBS's hit game Tattletales. He'd go on to do numerous shows for Goodson and Todman, or once Todman's name was no longer featured. So anyway, now you know what the Bear 6 is. Be right back. I might give you a good look at something else for the show. Now here's a look at the set of the Bear 6, so that way you can have a good look at it. Yeah. Now actually, when the team wins, the better sign will slide over to the winner's side. Whichever team wins. Forgot to point that out. And here's a glimpse of Sarah Purcell giving Bill Anderson a smooch there. And I think this was from the series finale. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Now, speaking of series finale, I can tell you something else. In the series finale, Bill sung just a little bit of his signature hit from 1963 known as Still. Yeah, he only sung just a little bit of that. Of course, that was a big hit for him. He did that just after it was released almost 15 years. Anyway, now if you've never actually seen The Bear 6, I'd say give it a watch. Like I said, the pilot episode and the series finale, plus a few episodes, including the 2 episodes that aired on Buzzer a few years back, are currently available on YouTube. If you really want to see a battle of the sexes, then I'd say The Bear 6 is worth checking out. So anyway, what did you think? Have you ever watched The Bear 6? You can let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Join me next time when I bring to you a little girl power with my review of Spice World with the Spice Girls. And of course, don't forget, the next episode of Wide World of Game Shows will be Pyramid, where I'll be talking about all versions of that game. So thanks for watching, and if you like this, check out these other episodes of the Wide World of Game Shows. In the upper left-hand corner is the episode on Family Feud. The upper right-hand corner is the episode on Hollywood Squares, or if you would like, go to the bottom left-hand corner and see the previous episode with the Match Game Hollywood Squares Hour. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe if you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc. Then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.